This is Matador News, and these are today's headlines. The suspected New York bomber has been charged with 5 counts of attempted murder. President Obama weighs in on the war in Syria in his last speech to the United Nations. And Hollywood's hottest couples call it quits after countless rumors.
Hello and welcome to Matador News. My name is Josue Bran.
And my name is Paulina Negrete. The man suspected of planting bombs in New York and New Jersey has been charged with 5 counts of attempted murder of a law enforcement officer after a shootout with police during his arrest. Ahmed Rahami was captured yesterday in Linden, New Jersey. He remains hospitalized after surgery for a gunshot wound to his leg. Police say Rahami is directly linked to the bombings and is believed to be connected to the unexploded pipe bombs. 29 people were wounded after a pipe bomb explosion on Saturday. The bombs all used flip cell phones as a trigger and were all homemade. He's being held on a $5.2 million bail.
President Obama told the United Nations General Assembly this morning that the world needs to make a course corrections in order to solve its most profound challenge. Obama, in his latest speech to the gathering of world leaders, said opening relations to Cuba, Colombia, and Latin America is the key to progress.
We opened relations with Cuba, helped Colombia and end Latin America's longest war. And we welcome a democratically elected leader of Myanmar to this assembly. This is important work. It has made a real difference in the lives of our people.
But Obama said the problem is the Middle East will not be so quickly resolved, but using military force is not a solution to resolve the Syria civil war. Obama said the war has become safer, but the nation needs to unite to solve the current refugee crisis and address to the threat of climate change.
At a congressional hearing this morning, CEO John Stump apologizes on behalf of Wells Fargo employees for creating 2 million fake credit cards and bank accounts.
I am deeply sorry that we failed to fulfill on our responsibility to our customers, to our team members, and to the American public.
The bank was fined $185 million for its sales practices. Stump would not comment on who was ultimately responsible, but says that there is no incentive to do bad things.
I accept full responsibility for all unethical sales practices in our retail banking business, and I am fully committed to fixing this issue, strengthening our culture, and taking the necessary actions to restore our customers' trust.
Stump says 5,000 employees were fired for improper selling and not honoring the bank's culture.
In Minnesota, FBI continued to investigate Saturday mob stabbing. ISIS took responsibility to the attack. Officials identified the attack as Nahir Adan. Adan stabbed the people and asked if they were Muslim and made Allah refuse. No one of the victims suffered life-threatening injury. If in-duty official fatally shot Adan, his family said they were devastated in deep shock. Adan was a soul who moved to the state when they was 3 months old. No evidence has been found trying to Adan to ISIS. Investigators say they're looking into his electronic device and social media account to figure out the movement of the attack.
The Los Angeles County Coroner's Office says a 19-year-old U.S. Marine has been taken off life support and died this morning. The Marine was shot in the head while on the weekend leave in Los Angeles. The young Marine was found Friday night in the driver's seat of his car in South L.A. Police say Carlos Segovia had no connection to gangs or in other activities that would make him a target of violence. No suspects have been identified, and investigators do not have a motive.
After 2 years of marriage, one of Hollywood's famous couples is calling it quits. Angelina Jolie is filing for divorce from Brad Pitt. Court documents say Jolie was requesting full custody of their children, They have 6 children. A source close to the couple says they want a cordial breakup. The Hollywood couple dated for 8 years before tying the knot in 2014. The ratings are in, and Sunday's Emmys had the lowest rating to date. The ratings dropped from last year's 12 million viewers to 11.3 million. The show was hosted by late-night Jimmy Kimmel on ABC. Nielsen data says this year's show was the least watched Emmys in history. The show failed to reel in viewers despite positive reviews from critics. In 2013, the show averaged 17.7 million viewers on CBS. That's all for entertainment. Now let's go to Alfredo Perez for news and health.
Thank you, Jasmin. The UN is holding a summit to discuss contemporary threats to global public health, particularly the issue of antibiotic-resistant diseases. Scientists and public officials have been warning for decades that the overuse of antibiotics will lead to the rise of bacteria that have adapted to the drugs and developed a resistance. Old antibiotic treatments are no longer able to cure diseases. New strains of antibiotic-resistant bacteria are increasing at a fast rate. The Centers for Disease Control estimates half of the antibiotics prescribed are not medically needed or prescribed correctly. Human overuse isn't the only concern. The agriculture industry uses them in the water they feed their livestock to prevent infections. Just like in humans, this overuse can create antibiotic-resistant strains. Individuals should always ask their doctors if antibiotics are always necessary. Cystic fibrosis has caught the nation's attention due to a couple's tragic love story that resembles the movie A Fault in Our Stars. Katie and Dalton Prager married each other in 2011 despite both suffering from the disease. Dalton Prager died this weekend and Katie remains in the hospice. According to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, the illness is a genetic condition that produces thick mucus in the body. This causes breathing and digestive problems. The CFC says the disease is a life-shortening illness despite the advances in treatment. Now here's Jasmin with what's new in business.
AAA researchers say American motorists have spent more than $2.1 billion on premium gasoline for vehicles that should be using regular gas. Officials say there is no benefit to using premium gasoline in a car that takes regular fuel. Premium gas is specifically formulated to be compatible with specific engine designs. 70% of U.S. drivers own vehicles that require regular gasoline and only 16% that require premium fuel. The U.S. government has officially endorsed driverless cars. The Secretary of Transportation released the guidelines for the new technology on Monday. They focus on a 15-point safety standard for the design and development of autonomous vehicles. But safety regulations were left vague to give innovators more freedom. Some driverless cars have already hit the road, including Tesla, Uber, and Google. Currently, driverless cars face a patchwork of state regulations. Most laws require a licensed driver to be in the car. Officials say government's endorsement will speed up the rollout of self-driven cars within the next 5 years. Let's go back to Alfredo with new in sports.
After 2 decades, the Los Angeles Rams host their first home game. In front of 91,000 fans, the Rams lit the torch of the Coliseum to welcome the NFL back to LA. It was a low-scoring game. Neither team scored any touchdowns. All the points came from field goals. However, the Rams managed to beat the Seahawks 9-3. The Rams are now 1-1 and will face the Buccaneers on Sunday. Los Angeles Dodgers broadcaster Vince Scully had one last opportunity to announce shoving between division rivals. The scuffle broke out in the 7th inning after San Francisco pitcher Madison Bumgarner threw Yasiel Puig out. Bumgarner began shouting at Puig before they confronted each other. Both teams shoved and pushed each other without any punches. The game ended in a Dodgers 2-1 victory after Adrian Gonzalez hit a double in the bottom of the 8th. The Dodgers will play the Giants again tonight at home. Now let's go to Cheyenne in the newsroom.
Meet the new PD K-9 unit team. Officer Virgil Messmore and his partner Daisy are set to make their official campus debut today in front of Bohemian Hall. Officer Messmore joined the department in February to help rebuild the CSUN PD K-9 unit.
Daisy is what they consider a one-dimensional dog. Her only job here is to find explosives. She's a bomb detection dog and anything associated with bombs, explosives, or firearms.
Students can come meet Daisy and have their photo taken with a 16-month-old Labrador Retriever. And with a suggested $10 donation, students will receive the newly designed PD K9 Unit t-shirt or one of the adorable plush Daisy-inspired stuffed animals. All proceeds go to CSUN's PD K9 Unit. Now back to you in the studio.
Thank you for watching Matador News. I'm Paulina Negrete.
I am Josue Bran.
I'm Alfredo Perez.
And I'm Jasmin Nevarez.